I mean, it's worth breaking down, like, how were we able to get the world's most powerful training cluster operational within 122 days? Because we started off, we actually weren't intending to do a data center ourselves. We were going to just, we went to the data center providers and said, how long would it take to have 100,000 GPUs operating coherently in a single location? And we got timeframes from 18 to 24 months. So we're like, well, 18 to 24 months, that means losing as a certainty. So the only option was to do it ourselves. So then if you break down the problem, I guess I'm doing like reasoning here, but like makes you think.
Yeah. One single chain though.
Yeah, exactly. So well, we needed a building. We can't build a building, so we must use an existing building. So we looked for basically for factories that had been abandoned, but the factory was in good shape, like the company had gone bankrupt or something. So we found an Electrolux factory in Memphis. That's why it's in Memphis, home of Elvis, and also one of the oldest. I think it was the capital of ancient Egypt, and it was actually a very nice factory that I don't know, for whatever reason that Electrolux had left, and so that gave us shelter for the computers. Then we needed power. We needed at least 120 megawatts at first, but the building only had 15 megawatts, and ultimately for 200,000 GPUs, we needed a quarter gigawatt. So we initially leased a whole bunch of generators. So we have generators on one side of the building, just one trailer after trailer of generators, until we get the utility power to come in. But then we also need cooling. So on the other side of the building, it was just trailer after trailer of cooling. So we leased about a quarter of the mobile cooling capacity of the United States on the other side of the building. Then we needed to get the GPUs all installed, and they're all liquid cooled. So in order to achieve the density necessary, this is a liquid cooled system. So we had to get all the plumbing for the liquid cooling. Nobody had ever done a liquid cooling data center at scale. So this was incredibly dedicated effort by a very talented team to achieve that outcome. I may think, now it's going to work. Nope. The issue is that the power fluctuations for a GPU cluster are dramatic. So it's like this giant symphony that is taking place. Like imagine having a symphony with 100,000 or 200,000 participants in the symphony, and the whole orchestra will go quiet and loud in 100 milliseconds. And so this caused massive power fluctuations. So then, which then caused the generators to lose their minds, and they weren't expecting this. So to buffer the power, we then used Tesla megapacks to smooth out the power. So the megapacks had to be reprogrammed. So with XAI, working with Tesla, we reprogrammed the megapacks to be able to deal with these dramatic power fluctuations to smooth out the power so the computers could actually run properly. And that worked. It was quite tricky. And then, but even at that point, you still have to make the computers all communicate effectively. Mm-hmm. So all the networking had to be solved, and debugging a bazillion network cables, debugging nickel at 4 in the morning. Or I think we solved it like roughly 4:20 a.m.
Yes, thank you.
Was when we figured out like there were a whole bunch of issues. Well, like one there was like a BIOS mismatch.
Yeah, the BIOS was not set up correctly.
Yeah,
we had to diff our LSPCI outputs between two different machines. One that was working, one that was not working. Yeah, many other things.
I mean, yeah, exactly. This would go on for a long time if we actually listed all the things. But it's like interesting. Like it's not like we just magically made it happen. You have to break down the problem, just like Grok does for reasoning, into the constituent elements, and then solve each of the constituent elements in order to achieve a coherent training cluster in a period of time that is a small fraction of what anyone else could do it in.
And then once the training cluster was up and running and we could use it, now we had to make sure that it actually stays healthy throughout, which is its own giant challenge. And then we had to get every single detail of the training right in order to get a Grok-free level model, which is actually really, really hard. So we don't know if there are any other models out there that have Grok-free capabilities, but whoever trains a model better than Grok 3 has to be extremely good at the science of deep learning at every aspect of the engineering.